The common translation of Proverbs 22:6 says, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he's old, he will not depart from it. Some of you might have it framed on your wall. And I'm going to do you the disservice today of saying, I don't think that verse means what you think it means. And I'm not going to take the time to explain it. Now I'd like to take time to explain Proverbs 22:6, why I don't think it means what we've always assumed it means. I ran across this idea in a master's level course just beginning exegesis, that translations often have an interpretation built in. So Proverbs 22:6 is usually translated, train up a child in the way that he should go, and even when he's old, he won't depart from it. And the several points that are interpretive are: one, train up. Secondly, the word should doesn't really have a basis in the original language. And then in assuming that the child and the word way both have positive leaning things. So I'd like to unpack a bit of the evidence that would make more of a neutral translation, and then show how a kind of a sarcastic negative reading makes better sense of it. So first, the word for child is a word that often refers to a youngster, a lad, we might say in English, or a kid. And otherwise, that word is never grouped with positive characteristics. There'll be a series of references every time it appears in Proverbs. The child with this particular word, it's na'ar in Hebrew, it's always grouped with fools and other people on a bad path. The most important bit of evidence, secondly, is the phrase that according to the way, and I said the word should, it doesn't have a basis in Hebrew. The Hebrew, it's an idiom, so it's a weird figure of speech that would make sense to an original speaker, but not to us. The original phrase would be according to the mouth of, and it usually indicates that something is necessary or done by compulsion by whatever the word is that follows. So Joseph, it's used about Joseph in a few instances in the book of Genesis, and it's according to, Joseph gives orders to the Egyptians, and it's according to the mouth of Joseph the Egyptians are supposed to follow. Or when he does these probing questions to his brothers who haven't figured out who he is yet, they're all adults in the weird story of Joseph, and they, because of his probing questions, they have to give an answer according to the mouth of his probing questions. And then there's some other examples. For example, there's when people are called to testify in a capital crime, the according to the mouth of the witnesses is kind of a phrase about the evidence in the case about whether the person is convicted or not. And then there's some other instances, but it seems to be according to the mouth of means whatever the way dictates, or whatever is compelled by the way, or whatever is compelled by the evidence, depending on what the object is there. A third thing is, how do we interpret the word way in the original language? In Proverbs, more often, the way talks about a past record, but it can refer to future possibilities. So it appears 75 times in the book of Proverbs, and the majority of them do describe past behavior. So the way of the Lord is his track record. The way of a fool is the fool's track record. The way of the wise is the wise track record. So when we talk about the way of a child, our instinct should be to assume the track record, not necessarily the future. Although there is the verse that there is a way that seems right to man, but the end thereof is death. So there is a possibility. The smaller number of occurrences have to do with the way as a possible future.